So I'm here with Heiko Schaefer and Sylvain Duranton. Thank you both in advance for sharing your expertise. So here we are in Davos. Heiko, you are running a very famous sports apparel company. And Sylvain, you're at BCGX. So what brings you together?
So Heiko is an alum, and we are super proud of what he has been doing. Heiko, you've been turning around some of the most iconic brands in the world. Now you're turning around Mammut, which is super iconic for us in X. We love the brand. We wear the swag. We have lots of appetite for the coolness of
Thanks
the brand. We're in Switzerland. This is a Swiss company, a very successful Swiss company, which is exporting on a super challenging business. You're strong in innovation, in sustainability, in AI. There's a lot to learn from larger companies on the secret sauce you're bringing to Mammut. So looking forward to hear a bit from you on those things.
Well, secret sauce. So you mentioned three important elements of why we've survived not only for 163 years, but also really sort of to some extent maybe shaped the industry. And as you said, innovation has always been at the core of what we do, right? We're a mountain performance company. We keep people warm, safe and dry under the harshest conditions. And over the last 160 years, we've really tried to pioneer in many areas, right? If you go back to the very beginning, launching the first dynamic climbing rope, but today there's still a lot around product innovation. For instance, launching safety products, right? Avalanche beacons that evolve with every generation to keep people safe in an avalanche situation, right? And we just launched another product here. We are launching our Pinnacle collection, which is for hardcore mountaineers that go up to 7,000-8,000 meters of altitude. Reworked that for 4 years of development cycle, decarbonized the collection, but also made it lighter and keeping people warmer. So a lot of the innovation that we do is in product, of course. That's where the core of the company is. But there is a lot also around process innovation, and you mentioned AI. For us, AI is an enabler to become better in the way we work every day, not only to become more efficient, that is always part of it, but also to be more effective, right? So we use AI, for instance, in the early stages of our creation and research process to just, ideate and come up with new ideas, color detection, color trend detection, and so on, and to have more targeted messages towards the consumers.
So Sylvain, when you are working with a business leader, such as Heiko, what do you say, okay, these are the best practices and I wish I saw more of them?
I think one super important best practice that we hear a lot about here in Davos is this notion of trust. And especially working on AI, we know that trust is super important. Of course, there is regulation, which is super important to build trust. But most companies, they would go beyond regulation because regulation sometimes is a bit following the agenda and the innovation. So I'd like to insist on this one, and maybe Heiko, you can share with us this trust and responsibility culture that is so strong in Mammut, because as you said, this is about the safety of the mountaineers. How do you build that culture? How do you keep it alive?
Well, there's a lot about, I would say, Swiss engineering culture in a way that goes back to the early days of the company, right? We're obsessed with quality and longevity of the product, and we craft products that just must not fail because lives are dependent on that. I'd say in the context of NI, we spent a lot of efforts over the last maybe 18 months on the one side, setting guardrails to some extent. You need to have a certain governance in place on what you can use and how you work with publicly available tools, or which tools you need to basically build internally and which data use. But at the same point in time, we really actively build capabilities within the organization and encourage people to experiment.